In the year 1864, Thomas Whitmore inherited a remote countryside estate from an uncle he never knew. The letter simply said, "It's yours now." The estate sat on a hill above Black Hollow Valley. Locals whispered about it, calling it the Crooked House due to its tilted roof and dark past. Thomas arrived under overcast skies. The driver refused to approach the final stretch, citing unfriendly winds, and left Thomas to walk the remaining mile alone. Vines had consumed the gate. Rusted hinges screeched as he pushed it open. The air inside the grounds was unnaturally still, thick with unease. The house stood tall, yet tired. Windows reflected no light. The front door opened before he touched it, as if welcoming him or warning him. Inside, dust danced in narrow beams of light. Paintings lined the walls, their eyes following him. He felt watched, though the house was silent. He explored room by room. Most were untouched, except one, a study filled with burned books, cracked mirrors, and a grandfather clock that ticked backward. The clock struck 13. Thomas froze. Behind him, a faint whisper said, "You came back." He spun around, but the hallway was empty and cold. That night, he slept in a guest room. At midnight, he awoke to distant footsteps pacing above. The ceiling creaked, though no one was upstairs. He lit a candle and followed the sound. The upper hallway stretched longer than before. Doors had multiplied. Some had locks on the outside. One door stood ajar. Inside was a child's nursery, untouched by time. A rocking horse moved slightly. A music box began to play by itself. Thomas left quickly. The hallway shifted behind him. He realized the doors had changed places. The house wasn't just old, it was alive and aware. In the library, he found a journal bound in skin. It belonged to his uncle, Silas. The entries became erratic, filled with names and blood. Silas wrote of voices in the walls, of mirrors showing futures, of shadows that fed on memories. He begged someone to seal the attic. Thomas searched for the attic entrance. Behind a portrait of a weeping woman, he found a hidden stairwell that spiraled up into complete darkness. Each step upward felt heavier, as though the air resisted him. Whispers grew louder. Some voices sounded like his own, others not human at all. At the top, the attic door had no handle, just 7 carved symbols. When Thomas touched them, the wood bled, and the door unlocked itself. Inside, the attic was a shrine of bones and candles. At its center stood a mirror taller than a man, covered in a shroud of velvet. He pulled the cloth off. The mirror did not reflect him, it showed a younger boy crying in a cell. Thomas somehow knew it was himself. The mirror pulsed like breathing. A hand reached out from it, pale and shaking. "Help me," the boy whispered. "You left me here before." Thomas recoiled. The attic spun. A voice boomed, "The debt is unpaid." The house shook violently. Candles blew out. The door slammed shut behind him. He woke hours later on the attic floor. The mirror was shattered. A shard stuck in his hand, bleeding black. Something was inside him now. Back in the study, Thomas read more. Silas had attempted rituals to bind the hunger within the estate. He had failed. The house devoured him. That night, Thomas dreamed of a black corridor without end. He heard children screaming. One voice cried, "We were yours. Why did you forget?" He began to forget details of his life. his mother's name, his hometown. Each morning, more memories vanished, replaced with images from the mirror. The townspeople noticed he changed. He aged rapidly. His eyes darkened. When asked his name, he paused, as if trying to remember it. One morning, he awoke not in his bed, but inside the nursery. The rocking horse stopped suddenly. On the wall, written in ash, "Stay." Desperate, Thomas tried to leave. But every path out led him back to the estate. The woods twisted. The road disappeared. The sky grew darker. He burned the mirror shards. But they reappeared by morning on his pillow, in the sink, in his mouth while he slept. They whispered to him. Silas's journal ended with a drawing of a man with no face, standing beside the crooked house. Underneath, he returns when forgotten. Thomas began boarding windows. He painted crosses. Nothing worked. The house laughed in its beams and screamed through its walls. He cried, begging forgiveness. At midnight, all doors vanished. He was sealed inside. From the fireplace, ash poured out endlessly, forming names in languages no longer spoken. He scratched a message into the floor, "Don't inherit what was buried." The boards bled under his fingers. His skin paled. His voice withered. The final morning, the mirror was whole again. This time, it showed a family approaching the estate. A lawyer handed a boy a letter. Thomas screamed through the glass, "Leave! Don't come here!" But the mirror only showed the boy smiling, approaching the gate, just like Thomas once had. The curse repeats generation after generation. The house never lets go. And those who try to leave, always return changed, hollow, or forgotten by time. The locals still avoid the hill. They say sometimes a man stands in the attic window, watching. His mouth opens, but no sound comes. They say the house is patient. It waits. And one day, it will remember your name too.